welcome to the Dubbcast. How's everybody doing out there this afternoon? SELAH shouting out to you from the Hobby Nice Studio. Big love and unity from the Dubb. Shouting out to all the friends in Facebookville. Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Come say hi to us. We got Heter in this. Film. Boom, 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 boom. All right. This is the Dubbcast. The SELAH Dubbcast is brought to you by Carl Headley Shapes. Check them out at carlheadleyshapes.com. Everything from 10-foot long nose riders to pocket thrusters, all handmade by Carl Headley himself in Emerald Isle. Check them out at carlheadleyshapes.com or on Facebook. Boom. Come say hi to us on the SELAH Dubb Network, SELAHDubb.com. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you'd like to come say hi to us. Today the podcast is available on iTunes, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, and all your favorite networks. How's everybody doing out there? All my friends on Facebookville, come on, throw us a little message for Heter. Give him a request. All right, we're going to get on with the podcast, and then we'll be jamming live in the second segment, so stick around. How's everybody doing out there? We're here to raise the vibration. SELAH shouting out to you. Big love and unity from the Dubb. Get that mic up a little closer. We got Heter in the house.
Yes, sir. How's it going, everyone? How's it going? Thanks for having me. Right
What's
here
up,
in the
Heter?
Dubb. How's it going?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Very well.
What you been up to? You've been traveling everywhere, huh?
I don't know about traveling everywhere. Went to a few places for sure. I have been mobile. I have not stayed home. We'll put it that way. Try to be safe, and all that, but I'm also,
You have not been
out.
safe.
I've not been safe.
You got hurt really bad on one of
Yeah,
your
I got
trips.
hurt on I went on a surf trip and fell off a gnarly wave, and that was one injury among a few.
Super concussion. Heter got back from his trip to Costa Rica, and I call him. He's like, can barely talk. I'm like, what's wrong,
my ear
bro?
was out. I think I had a concussion days later. I flew on the plane back with a infected ear, and so that pressure change, the ear trying to pop, was so much pressure. My head built up. It was intense. It was scary.
You had a bruise on your brain.
My
I was
whole
like,
face, it was just like the whole neck. I thought I broke my neck. I came up like, all right, I think I broke my neck.
I had to take Heter to we had to go over and get him some medication and try to get him back to normal. But
there was a whole week. I had to just cancel everything. I just stayed home and just was in bed. I say in bed, but I was really on the floor, just holding my head, just like an ear injury is really the worst. At least one of the worst injuries, because it's just inner, it's in your head. It's not just outer, this was internal. Oh,
it affects your ability to function. You don't realize.
Walking, I could only walk to the right. It was, I was going in circles.
You're like a dog with one leg.
Yeah, it was wild, man. But the rest of the trip was good. I got some really good waves. I just went on a little solo mission down to Nosara and caught some really good waves. Saw John Pike down there from Surfers Healing, Gianni, and we surfed a little bit. Austin Nall, went to some spots and caught it pretty good.
What's that break like at Nosara? Is that just
it's
all
so
left?
Good. It's so good. It's just it's like a sandy beach break that goes. It's like 200, 300, 400 yards out. I mean, this thing just breaks so far out, and you can surf. It's a really good beginner wave because you can go 50 feet and catch a little small wave, or you can go 100 feet and catch a 3-foot wave, or you can paddle out 2 or 3 football fields out there, and then they're like overhead, So
cool.
And you can get on one of these waves and just ride it forever. It's really fun. It's a really long wave, real smooth, mellow, no rocks.
But that's amazing. All sand, huh?
Yeah, totally sand. That's why I go there, because it's it's super safe, but still get hurt.
It's not safe when Heter's out there surfing.
Nope.
What, did you go to any other places when you were in Costa Rica to surf? Or did you
I
just stay there?
primarily stayed there because I got a little spot there, Jungle's Edge.
That's not even enough
surfing
time.
Yoga
1 week
Retreat.
in one spot.
1 week. It's the shortest trip I've ever gone to Central America, and it was
You got
like you're
blasted the third
just
day.
getting into it. It was like third or fourth day I'd already gotten hurt, and I was, good thing I needed to get out of there. It was I guess I mean I've been surfing for almost my whole life, but still, I mean, you can still get hurt on a nice, easy, soft wave. You land wrong, landed just smack down on my ear, just like a belly flop, but on the face.
Well, about that, the surfing family that used to travel in the dad took his family traveling in an RV all around the world, and they would surf everywhere. This was in the 70s and the 80s, and they surfed all their life and never really got hurt. And then, like, literally late in one guy's surfing the years, like in his 40s, he fell in like a foot of water and ended up getting paralyzed. So it can happen to anybody. Surfing's definitely like a chancy thing. You can surf your whole life.
Last summer, someone down in Oak Island, this guy with his whole family, he had like 3 kids out there, and it was like shore break. It was like 2-foot shore break, and he broke his neck and
like just like that.
Done.
Wow.
So you got to be safe out there.
Life is wild.
But you also got to, I say be safe, but it's like we're all trying to be safe here and there, and you can get hurt or die from anything. There's a couple I just heard about that stayed inside for 6 months, 9 months, didn't go out, stayed safe, and then one day they took a motorcycle ride and that was it for them. That was it for them. I'm not sure who it was, but
the karma.
Woo. You got to live your life. Don't be too scared. Be cautious. Woo. Be cautious. Don't be too scared though.
Yeah. Don't be. Have you surfed any other good breaks in Costa Rica?
Man, I surfed all over Costa Rica.
Really?
Up and down. Yep.
What's your favorite spot?
My favorite spot.
You like ride longboards.
Yeah, I like to ride longboards, but I like to ride shortboard. Like I like to ride longboards here in Wrightsville Beach because the waves don't get very big. So I'm like longboard all day long on anything, even hurricane swell just about. But no, either way, like I like to surf anything. I'm a wave rider. I'll ride a boogie board. I like to body surf almost, just as much. So I'll ride anything, but definitely the older I get, I've always been more like classic style longboard rider. So Nosara is pretty much the spot because you can go out on a longboard and just cruise, and you're on the wave for so long, and it's really big open spots. So there's not like one peak and everyone's sitting on the peak. It's kind of like here, you can go anywhere all down the beach. You can kind of spread out, even though there's like hundreds of people there, but they spread out. And it's a good longboard wave, but
no hassle.
I did find this new little spot. I don't know if I should say, but I surfed this little spot and about an hour and a half south of Nosara. Really? And that spot was really cool. But Austinall was a turtle reserve, and there's, you can see turtle carcasses on the beach and vultures eating the turtle carcasses. There's so many of them, but they hatch eggs all the time, and that break is really good. I actually randomly saw John Pike out in the water, who I work with Indojacks, and he's with Surfers Healing here in Wrightsville Beach. And I'm just out in the water, and that was the first day I was there. I see him, I see his back with all his tattoos and everything. I was like, oh, that's John Pike. And we caught it really good. It was overhead clean barrels.
Nice.
Amazing.
Don't shake that leg.
I'm a jumper, man.
We got an earthquake. Got an earthquake on the screen. We got a hyperactive child. Very cool. So then you just got back from Park City too. You went off to Park City and did some snowboarding, huh?
Yeah.
You're like beating the virus. You're like, I'm gonna just beat the virus. You're a live single wild board sports addict. So you're like,
it's like no matter what I do, I'm around it. I stay here in town. I go to work. I go work in the film industry. I go to Screen Gem Studios, and they're definitely mandatory masks. They're very good about it. They're testing. I get tested 3 times a week. I get paid to get tested, but still, I mean, while you're there, you got to take your mask on and off while you do the scenes. So I mean, you're still exposing yourself. There's so many, go to Walmart, go down the street, go to the store, whatever it is, and you're around something. You're never safe. So it's all about how you being safe. And if you want to wear a mask and all that, wear it tight and wear it good, so when I'm on the plane and I'm traveling, I am actually completely covered up, 3 masks, like completely head to toe. I don't want to get sick. I want to snowboard.
Yeah.
So, I was completely as safe as it can be. And I get there, and when you're snowboarding, when you're surfing, you're not around other people, It's not like at a store or something where, 6 foot distance. I mean, when you're surfing and snowboarding, you're away from everybody. That's the whole point, is getting absolutely away from everybody. So when I go to Costa Rica, it's like no one's around. So I, got a lot of space, and
the sunshine
sunlight
is the killer.
That's the main thing. It's the sunshine. Yeah.
Because I got the coronavirus early in July last year, of all things, but I was lucky to be here at the beach in the sunshine. So
yeah, just try to stay active.
Not so hard,
stay active, get sunshine
in 100 degrees of sunshine. Indeed. So you've been doing a little bit of music, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you could say a little, you could say a lot. It's either way, because it is a little and it's a lot. It's a little because I lost a lot of gigs, and the main thing I would be doing, touring around, playing every weekend, playing multiple times a week, all that is slowed down. It's starting to come back, but also with all this time off, I have been playing a lot. Had a lot of time at home where I've been playing guitar and playing harmonica and singing songs and playing with new people and kind of jamming at the house and working on music one way or the other. But I definitely backed off a lot, and I'm in other fields trying to make a living, but definitely never stopped playing music. So, but
well, yeah, you're 100% professional. I mean, you're still doing, very safe events, but you've been doing some drive-in events and going out to Asheville, where they're doing it safe in Asheville. But I noticed you've been staying real busy. Out of everybody, you're like, you're not going to stop. So I'm
not going to stop. And in the beginning, it was like, it went like a month and a half where music stopped. It was like March. We're coming up on the date. All right. The date is like in a month. It was March 13th, whatever you want to call it. 14th. I think March 13th was my first show actually canceled. March 15th being the Monday where all my work was canceled. I immediately lost 60 shows on a dime, 60 just gone and all that. And after the first month, it was like end of April, where at that time to go a day or two without live music, having 2 or 3 days where you can't go to the Duck and Dive, you can't go somewhere and just hear some live music, just a few days was like a big deal. And now we're, we go weeks, we go months, and we're like almost forgot about it. But, at that time, there was a point where it started where it's like, we need to play. We need to get our boys. So end of April, we had a little party. Everyone's, wearing masks, and there's only a few people outside. And we just had a very small gathering, played music, and people were going crazy. I've never seen them dance like that. They were going crazy, and they were like loving it so much. And it was it was just a few friends, and, got the band over, we played outside, and I think we live streamed it or something. And
we certainly did.
And then since then it was like, well, music's not going to kill me. Yes, this virus could kill me, but I've got to keep playing music. That's what I live for. What makes me feel good, keeps the depression away, all that stuff, So, just continue to play music. And then there wasn't a lot of places in Wilmington to play. So we would travel, or I would travel elsewhere. We started Myrtle Beach was starting to be more open, and we started going on there. And I was actually in the Star News about that. They had a big article how all the musicians in Wilmington are going down to South Carolina and Myrtle Beach because there are places that were open. And so, that was one thing. Asheville, a lot. I've been playing a lot in Asheville with the Dirty Dead and Shakedown Sundays and all that stuff, because Asheville is such a big musical community that they're not going to let live music not happen. So at one point in the summer, the venues open, they were at half capacity. As soon as they could, it was mandatory mask, even sipping a beer, you pulled it down, put it back on, whatever it takes to have that live music there. So that was like a driving force and like keeping music going. So I've been going back and forth as much as I can to play there. And, things are starting to open up here. It's more like breweries and some small restaurant stuff like that. We just heard Jimmy's is just opened back up now and about to take some bands on and all that stuff. And so it's slowly coming back. But yeah, I never really stopped,
Yeah. So like what maybe people out there don't realize is Justin plays drums with us in SELAH Dubb. So last summer was going to be a huge tour. I don't know how many gigs I probably had him online for, but probably a good 25 gigs.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of talking like
because I left him high and dry, because when this all happened, I just dropped out and just decided to go ahead and go for a regroup and just go into a studio thing after I got the virus. I just thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and not, because my mom's 86 and stuff. I have to take care of her. So I just decided I was going to just chill. And so Heter lost probably a quarter of his gigs were with us and the band. And so, and we have a lot of, our gigs are like all fun. So when you don't have any more, I know for me, losing the SELAH Dubb gigs is not just, there's no, it's not even the money or anything. It's just how much fun and everybody like getting together. And
every weekend we're throwing dance parties. We're throwing this fun vibe. And then all of a sudden it's all taken away from us.
And it was hard. It was definitely hard.
Watch TV, be on your computer. There's nothing, read a book, garden, cook, hang with your significant other, but stay home. And that's not what we're used to.
Right.
And some people are, and they're totally fine with this. And we are not really that type of people. So
see what you're experiencing a lot is, I've been through it twice with 9/11 and then the economic crash in 2008, where we had to take a year off both those times. And so both those times, the first time 9/11 affected me like it's affecting you. Like I lost it during 9/11 because everything shut down.
I love how you know that I lost it.
You did lose
your Facebook post. You've lost it. Everyone tells me you're so sad online. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just posted about music. Like, man, you need to stop putting all those sappy posts out. I'm like, well, that's how I feel. I'm sitting around for weeks. I'm an entertainer and I can't entertain. And here's the other thing is when I'm trying to just entertain people, right? At these shows, I feel like an entertainer. I'm not just a drummer. I like to entertain. So when you take that away, it's like, what purpose do I have?
I know.
And
I'm just saying.
Well, and on top of that, people were starting to get mad when we would throw shows.
I know that was very. That's kind of why I stopped at the end of that. Yeah.
And then we had one little outdoor
the backlash
event
about our parties.
We had a very, very small event in the middle of North Carolina that we were going to do. And, as it came up to it, people were just online, and they're still doing it. They're very upset that we're trying to throw things, and it's completely understandable. And people, have died, and we're trying to be respectful and stuff like that. And at the same time, it's like we're trying to make a living. We're just trying to make a couple dollars, or we're trying to entertain we're trying to, have some sort of community and keep the music going and because you can't just sit in your house. Guess you can sit in there like a prison and, be as safe as you can. And it's probably, what a lot of us should have done, but it's hard to do. It really is hard to do. You got to go out, you got to go to the store. Some people are very social, and if you don't take that away immediately, like what happened, because it got taken away immediately.
I know.
It's like going to jail. You're just like immediate, boom, doors are closed. No one's out. No one's around anymore, And
I'm just saying, I've had it happen twice. So I was prepared when it happened. I said, okay, this is going to be like 9/11. This is going to be like 2008. I took a deep breath and said, okay, I'm going to do my best not to let it get me. And I handled it as good as I could to take time off.
But
Heter was like, not going to stop.
No, I'm just letting this is what's going on.
So SELAH Dubb stopped, and Heter said, I'm moving on. We're going to keep on jamming. But
move on. I'm just,
we'll be jamming again soon. So don't think that we won't. We got new gigs to come.
Dubbtown Cosmonauts didn't really play very much. We played only a very, very few handful of shows. The mostly things I did last year were like solo acoustic, very small. Like I learned to completely play acoustic guitar and sing and just do the one-man band thing just to keep momentum up,
That was pretty wild.
And just trying to train myself to do that.
You've gotten good.
And I appreciate it.
Front man.
Just been, I got a band room at home, a studio. We just sit there and I just play music, and had a lot of time to go through songs. And I knew that, we really looked at this thing and we were like, well, what's going to happen and it's exactly what happened, is what's going to happen is a few things are going to slowly open up. It's going to be like the breweries, the small restaurants, stuff like that. And then it'll eventually be, bars and restaurants, or, the big venues, bigger venues. And then from there, it'll eventually be the large scale venues. So I knew that if I, playing a lot of these shows weren't just going to come back in a month or two. So they were going to slowly. So I really knew that playing guitar and kind of being able to do a solo thing would be crucial. And, because if you can do a solo thing, you can travel around, you can play anywhere. You can, That's why I go to Costa Rica. I play music in Costa Rica because you only need one person. So, but I still love playing the drums, and that's my focus. That's what I want to do. Absolutely. I love being in a band, and love the camaraderie and the energy. A lot of the solo acoustic stuff just very mellow and chill and stuff like that. I miss like throwing the parties and sweating.
Yeah. So let's talk music philosophy. I want to talk to you because I consider you a percussion master. I consider you definitely a master of the drum kit, but even more like on the world of Mickey Hart and that kind of scale,
well,
like more of a percussionist who plays the kit.
Right.
But you come at it with a percussion angle. So I just wanted to come at you with a few questions about your philosophy. My main thing is like your philosophy when you're on the kit and when you're playing live. Your idea about a song and its flow and its capacity to formulate itself. Like when you're working with another group of musicians, the bass player, the drummer, the bass player, the guitarist, the keyboards, where's your focus center locked on? Like when you're back there, when I'm playing, bass. Are you listening to bass? Is that where you
First things first is the bass. Like bass has to be locked in, and it depends on every different band. So SELAH Dubb, it's absolutely the bass. Everything else don't even matter. I don't even need it. I'm just like, give me the bass, because the bass in SELAH Dubb is what's driving it, and as long as I can be locked into that, everything else is. But it depends. If I'm playing acoustic music and there isn't a bass and it's just a guitar player, I'm listening to the guitar. But I'm also mainly listening to the rhythm. I'm not listening as much as the notes. I'm definitely trying to hear that rhythm first, and that's what gives me the clues of what the beat's going to be. But it kind of depends on the band, who's leading the band and stuff like that. But I think bass and drums definitely have to be locked in, and that's definitely what I'm listening to.
And your focus is on, when you're focusing on the intonation of the, like when you're working on a beat yourself, is your focus more on a percussion level of thinking of the fills around it? Are you in the pocket of the song? Like when you're playing that song, are you thinking about fills coming through? Are you thinking about the pocket? Are you thinking about?
No, I don't think about fills like at all. Usually it's the pocket. And again, it depends on the type of music. Because like I said, SELAH Dubb. So if I'm playing reggae or something like that, I'm focusing on the beat. I just want to be in the pocket. You just want to hold it down. And the fills will come. The fills are just naturally, I don't think about fills. They just like come out of me. It's just like, boom, here comes the fill. I'm feeling the fill. I'm not, there may be every once in a while, I might think ahead and be like, oh, I'm going to do that cool fill that I was, that someone else did that I remember or something, but usually the fills just happen in the moment. But I'm definitely locked in to just playing that beat hard and keeping it solid. I'm one of the drummers that's not flashy and trying to do a bunch of stuff. I just like to hold down the groove. And then when I'm playing the Grateful Dead stuff, that's kind of, that's a little different. I'm definitely still holding down the pocket, holding down the beat, but it's a little more loose. It's a little more slinky. So I don't exactly have to be in the pocket a lot of times, especially when the jams come. It's a little bit more flowing versus when you play with SELAH Dubb, it's like pocket, the whole time. You just want to play in that pocket. You almost don't need to do any fills, so it really just depends on the music.
And what's your advice? Because you are also a drum teacher and you give a lot of lessons out there. So what's your advice to the younger drummers, how they can really make their drumming breathe and make their drumming go beyond the mechanics of it to that deeper level? Do you have some kind of ideas, ways they can train, things they can listen to, places that they can get inspiration from?
Yeah, I mean, really just listening to other drummers and, YouTube, Spotify, whatever it is, just playing along to other music, constantly playing. I just read something. It was like several versions of this, like Hunter S. Thompson, he typed The Great Gatsby like 3 times, the whole book 3 times. So he could get the flow of how to write like that, like his favorite writer. So for me, I love John Fishman, the drummer of Fish. and I've been studying him like my whole life. And so I've been playing his music and playing his music and playing over and over. So I'm like in the mind of him. So he's the drummer that I love. So, you know, find a drummer that you love and play their music over and over till you're kind of figuring out how they did it, and you're learning how to do it so you can do it with other bands or write your own music and stuff like that. The Dead drummers are definitely unique because playing the Dead, there's 2 drummers, and I'd say 90% of the shows, maybe more like 95 that I do that are Dead tribute shows, are just one drummer. It's just me. So I can just play the Billy Kritzman part, or I can play the Mickey Hart as well. And I like to play the Mickey Hart while I'm doing Billy Kritzman. So I got
Well, what's the difference in the 2?
Well, Billy Kritzman is I would consider more the drum set player, you know, who's holding the beat and the groove down. And then you got Mickey Hart, who's more or less percussion. And certain years, like early years, they both had drum sets, and then it's developed, and Mickey Hart is just all this tribal and crazy drums and electronic. Wraparound drum sets, but he's more of the percussion. So he's throwing in notes. He's just accenting. He's doing like the fills and stuff like that, and throwing in chimes and like cool little trinkets and stuff like that. So when I'm playing, you know, I have the percussion on the side. So I'll be holding the beat down a lot of times like Billy would be doing, but on this hand, I'll be doing the percussion and throwing in some extra notes, and I'll have the pad there, and the drum pad will throw in samples and big drum fills and stuff like he would have. So I personally like to play both of those parts. And, you know, I get
not easy.
No, it's not easy, but it comes natural. Like I want to hear that. If I was hearing a Dead tribute band, I want to hear those big drum fills, you know, instead of just playing the beat on this song. You know, like the Dead would, you know, Billy would just be playing a regular drum beat while Mickey's in the background, do, just these huge like 80s, do, like crazy stuff. And that's like unique to the Dead. So I like to throw those in. And I have a lot of musicians that aren't used to that. Like when I play in Asheville, there's a few Dead drummers that don't use the pad, and I'll bust it out. I won't tell anybody. And next thing you know, I hit those in some song, like 3 or 4 songs in, do. And they're just look back at me, you know, just stoked. They're like, yes, all right. So
bring back fun. The 80s. That's when I used to see the Grateful Dead. Very funny. Indeed. Well, that's interesting stuff. So do you believe that like is there some kind of training techniques that you would give any kind of advice to young drummers? Like
definitely play to a metronome at different speeds, all sorts of speeds, because I had never really learned to play to a metronome. I played to music, which is usually recorded to a metronome, but I never practiced to a metronome. And then my timing was just, you know, it's kind of all over the place. And then I slowly got better at it. And now I'm like, you know, it's taken me years, but I mean, I can play really solid like a metronome, you know, and I'm pretty proud of that. Like in SELAH Dubb, if the bass cuts out, you know, for whatever reason, and you know, but the rest of the track is still going, or the track is totally cut out, you know, and I keep the drum beat going, you bring it back in, a lot of times it's like dead still on, you know, and I like take pride in that. Like I really am trying to think about a metronome when I'm playing a lot. And I used to not do that because like no one wants to hear a metronome in their head, but I think I just naturally now have like a beep in my head all day long. So that, you know, I like to, you know, I feel like that's really crucial, a drummer to stay on time. There's a lot of drummers that speed up. I used to do it, speed up. And as the song builds up energy and intensity and the solos start coming in, the drums are picking up speed and everyone's picking up speed, and they look back at the drummer and they yell at the drummer, but it's the whole band is picking up speed. So that drummer has to try to stay slow, like slow it down, keep that groove going. And,
oh
you know,
no, I used to always.
It's hard. The whole band speaking out. It's not just the drummer. You know, you can blame the drummer all you want, but that guitar's over there ripping away, you know, and like everyone's in the moment and people are drinking and dancing. You know, it makes you want to get faster, but like to hold it down, that's actually the hardest thing. So I would say to drummers, try your best to hold it down in the pocket. Don't be so flashy. You don't have to be flashy. People don't need a flashy drummer. You know, church, it's good to be flashy, or a battle of the bands or during a drum solo, but I just feel like drums are meant to be more steady and pulsing and, you know, kind of repetitive versus kind of all over the place.
Well,
in a lot of music.
Coming from my perspective of, I feel like a drum beat that's in the pocket, but played with some finesse and some flair and some feeling. And every kind of roll is done with a finesse and a flair and a feeling, instead of just trying to fill it in and get as many notes in as possible. It's really about the expression and the feeling you got. And so that if you take your time to play a little less, then you can put a little more emotion into your
less
feeling.
is more,
you know what I'm
kids.
saying? So
less is more.
that's
Believe
the
me.
thing.
Flashy's fun. There's I'm not going to name the band, but I will say this: there's a band that I love, and they replaced their drummer, and he's extremely flashy, and it kills it for me. I'm like, it kind of ruins it for me, because their old drummer was just more pulsing and repetitive and held the groove, and that's what made that band. And
that can really change a band for sure. You got to have that pocket playing,
Yeah, I like the pocket. So if you don't know what the pocket is, look it up. Get in there.
I'm getting ready to do a new show called DJ Spin That Shit. And DJ Spin That Shit is a show about the craziest things that ever happened to you at a show.
Oh, Lord.
I'll be talking to all different musicians about it. So when I have you on the show, what are you gonna be? What is your story for the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at a show?
So it has to be at a show or
on stage.
Well, I have a story, but I don't think it could be told. I mean, I could tell it. It's you want to hear it? I mean,
yeah. You can edit it slightly.
All right, I'm going to edit it slightly. Now, there's a lot of crazy things that happened to me, but this happened pretty early on. And I'd like to say the name of the location. I don't think it really matters, but we won't say where it was, but we will say it was a pizza joint, very delicious cosmic pizza joint. And I was only like 18, 19 maybe. This is pretty young I was like just in college, and I had a little party band named Chaka. And we were playing there, and this is kind of a restaurant. People are eating. It's not, no one's dancing. This is like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Okay. There's no stage. This isn't like a stage show. This is people are eating and hanging out and eating, drinking a little bit, watching us. It's early. This is like 7 p.m. And I'm playing the drums. I got 4 musicians in the band. And they're jamming. At one point, they're just in the song. They're all looking down. We look down in our instruments. We're not looking around. They're like in the jam. Everyone's in the pocket pretty much. And I see this girl come up to me who had to be like 15 or something. Like definitely young, very, very young. And I see something's off about her a little bit. And I'm just like, she comes up to me and all the instruments are around where people are eating. And, I'm playing the drums, and when you're playing the drums, you can't stop. Other instruments, you might be able to stop, you're playing guitar, you can kind of like, the band's going to keep going, but the drums, you can't stop. So if something happens to you while you're playing the drum set, if you stop, then everyone in the whole place notices. I mean, even the cooks.
Yeah.
The cooks are grooving right now, and if you stop, everyone's going to notice. So my whole thing always is don't stop, don't stop. So I'm trying not to stop. And she comes up, and I had a monitor right next to me. She comes up and sits down at the monitor, and then she starts to unzip my pants. And I'm like, wait, what is going on here? I'm trying to play the beat. And I see like her dad or somebody that I think was with her is like not paying attention or something. And I think she was definitely a little mentally off, and we'll put it that way. And like I said, I'm trying to hold the beat, and I'm embarrassed at this point. Not one person in the band is noticing what's going on. And I'm just like, get out of here. Like giving her the nudge, about to stop the beat and just, end the song and be like, okay, someone please escort this person out of here. And I mean, literally unzip my pants. And so then her dad eventually sees what's going on and runs over and grabs her, and they leave. Song ends, put the sticks down. I look at the boys. No one noticed anything. I zip my pants back up and I'm like, what was that?
DJ, spin that shit.
Yeah. So
That's
that
a great
was
story.
that was some strange, awkward stuff. And it was like, like I said, I mean, I'm trying to be respectful here. I want to keep the music going, but I'm also very worried about what's happening right here. And that was very awkward. And it's bothered me ever since. I've always wondered who that person was, what was wrong, who gave them the mind frame that you could do something like that at like 6 or 7 p.m., like after eating dinner. Very, very, very strange.
Somebody was rebelling against the family.
Yeah. So,
oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of crazy stories. Yeah.
Well, we'll get more stories on the DJ Spin That Shit.
I have a great story that's a travel band road story I like to tell, but that's not a stage story. That's just a band story.
That'll be good. We'll have to tell that one later. So you've been doing some acting lately?
I have been doing some acting. I'm acting like I'm okay.
What's the new thing? There you go. You've been acting like you want to jam.
I've been acting like I'm the boss.
Yeah.
Of this thing.
That's right.
No, I was Lucas's best friend. I was on a skateboard scene and the school shooting episode and stuff like that. And I've been on all sorts of stuff, Piranhas 3D, Sleepy Hollow as a pirate, and like all sorts of things. But recently I have been doing Hightown and This Country and this movie Static with Ethan Hawke and some things like that. And yeah, I signed an acting contract with an agency, which is pretty cool, for 2 years. So they're sending me auditions right now. I haven't landed anything yet, but I had one audition that was huge, which was for a superhero in a Marvel movie.
Wow.
Which was insane. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get this, but I mean, I went for it and I did the audition.
You could have gotten
my
it.
Scenes. Could have gotten it. They might have wanted some nobody,
with those headshots you just got.
Yeah, those photoshopped headshots.
I got concerned when you got that contract. I was like, oh my gosh, I'll take a little break and I'm going to lose my drummer. He's going to get a real job.
Yeah. I don't know. Nothing's come out of it yet, but maybe something will fall into place. But yeah, still mostly just background stuff, a couple featured roles here and there, doing, mostly just background stuff like one-liners or something. Nothing crazy yet.
Keep you working.
But you never know. I mean, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. I'm a mediocre entertainer, so if they need somebody like me, I'm your man.
Give them a song and a dance. So what do you got going on in the future? Anything coming up for the spring?
Kind of just taking it day by day. Like it's been weird not booking out in advance and having shows to look forward to. So there's a few shows. I do have a few outdoor festivals, like small outdoor festivals that are popping up that Electric Soul Pandemic's on, Dubbtown Cosmonauts is on, a couple things like that, like on a Saturday night here and there. Nothing too much, and pretty open. But I should be teaching surf lessons with Indojax this summer again. So yeah, looking forward to that.
And you do a lot of work with Surfers Healing too. You're always there. You're always doing that 1 week with the kids, which is a big deal.
They only come here for 1 day. They come here for 1 or 2 days, and Indojax, a few of us get to help the Surfers Healing guys, surf with the kids and stuff, which is huge because they apparently don't use anybody else really when they travel the nation and the world. They don't use a lot of extra helpers that also surf and pick up the kids on the boards. They'll have helpers, but they don't use a lot of other surf teams, but they love Indojax. So I've met all those guys and got to surf with them, which is sick, and
what if you guys don't know what Heter does is the Surfers Healing brings in children that are handicapped and have different disabilities, and they take them out surfing.
So what it is, so
how does it work?
Surfers Healing actually takes kids with autism out.
Autism.
And that's
okay.
kind of their focus. There's also Malleola Foundation that
see.
takes kids out with cystic fibrosis. So
Okay.
I work with Indojax Surf School and Surf Charities. And Indojax actually takes kids out with all sorts of special needs.
That's what it is.
So every few weeks, we have a visually impaired camp where some of these kids are blind. We take them surfing. It's wild. Kids with cancer. We've taken kids from Chernobyl here who are here to detox on their radiation.
Crazy.
And then we do have an autism camp that we do. And then we have a boys and girls club that we do every few years. And Wounded Warriors. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but yeah, so it's multiple charities. So, I mean, I've taken kids out in full wheelchairs where you bring the wheelchair across the sand. We got 3 or 4 guys picking them up out of the chair, get them onto the board. We paddle out there. I mean, it's intense. It's wild. And a lot of people look at it like, that's crazy. You shouldn't be doing that. And that's the whole thing. That's the motto is if you can surf, you can do anything, So it's like, we're going to be safe and we're going to, we might not ride some huge wave, but we'll get them out in the water and paddle around. And even just that is monumental for some of these kids. So it's like, it's epic to be able to do, to do this job. So
it's epic indeed.
Yeah. It's awesome. What's really crazy is they send me out to California every year to teach surf lessons to kids with special needs in Cayucas, California, which is near Pismo Beach, which is kind of near where Surfers Healing was invented. So like we're going out to where Surfers Healing was invented, and honestly, surf instruction. That was the first surf camp, out there, the Packowitz Surf Camp, and to be able to go out there and teach surf lessons, that's really next level. Because then you're in the big leagues out there. If you're in California waters, and some days the waves can be huge. One day it was like 8 foot out there, and we were taking kids with special needs. We could only go 30, 40 feet out and just ride the shore break. But, you got to really be.
How do you manage that kind of stuff? I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. Go ahead.
Hello.
Let's unplug that. So how do you manage that stuff?
I mean, we take it really, 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 really easy. We take it very, very, very slow. We don't rush anything. We play by ear for each student. If the student is engaged and they're stoked and they can, you do stuff on the beach first. And if they can listen to you and follow along, then that you can go this route. If they're not listening to you and they're flailing their arms and they're just being wild and, then you go a different route and you just take it more easy with them. If it's someone that's blind, you don't just take them out in the water. We walk them to the water. We let them feel the water coming up to their toes a bunch. We let them feel the power of the ocean. And every day is different. Some days might be extremely calm, so we can get nearly anybody out on a board and just paddle out and take it easy. If the waves are really huge, then we take extreme precautions and we either don't go out or we only go out, 30, 40 feet, stuff like that. The worst days are when it's like huge, gnarly shore break and we got kids with special needs, and trying to get them through those waves can be, tricky. And sometimes, it takes 2 people, maybe 3, one person holding the board, 2 people holding them, just holding their arms and getting them out there and just doing it and being as safe as we can. And then other days are super easy. You get a kid that, has been there for 6 years in a row and he loves to surf and the weather's perfect. There's these nice little peelers, like rollers, like 3 foot, just breaking. You can paddle out with them. And then they're just surfing like 30 waves back to back,
Cool.
So it's just like completely different. Sometimes we'll have the kids on the front of the board and you're surfing with them. You pick them up and they're on the board with you. And then other times they're good to go with, their own board and you push them into the wave. Or sometimes we'll hold the back of the board and we'll get them on a wave and I can push it down so the nose comes out and we can just ride all the way to the sand. And we have boards that have plastic fins. So we can just ride these things up into the sand. And everyone's taking pictures right there. Mom's clapping and everything. We're just rolling right up onto the sand, right into their faces. Every time these kids have huge smiles.
It's such an epic once in a lifetime thing for these kids.
Yeah. I mean, some of it literally is one time. I mean, I had a kid from China who'd never seen the ocean. And he was there at our camp, and it was I mean, it was insane. You know, he was just the sand alone in the water. He's like, had never seen it. And, you know, so taking him out was just every second he was stoked. So that was crazy.
How cool. How cool.
And then we have some kids, you know, like I said, from Chernobyl, they all speak Russian. And so this one time I was leading the camp and I had to have a translator. I'm saying, okay, paddle, pop up, you know, surf, all this stuff. And they were translating everything I said. And so now out in the water, you know, you can't really talk to them because you don't know how to speak Russian. So you're just kind of visualizing stuff. So but it's completely different, you know, I've worked with crazy different, you know, spectrums of kids and adults.
How cool. How rewarding.
Yeah. Super rewarding.
Spreading the surfing around the world to the kids that need it. How cool, man. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to get on with the podcast now and get on to the AcousticCast. I'm going to be jamming with this guy in just a minute here. So we have been having a good time here, getting it all set up, and we got the drums ready. And so stick around for segment 2. We're going to take a little break here and get all the gear together. Do you have anything else you'd like to say to the world out there?
Well, I have a question for you, Mark. I was just wondering how you're doing, man. How's your health? How are you doing? I'm just wondering what the world wants to know how you're doing, man. You doing good?
I'm doing great. I'm hiding here and getting it all together and getting ready to go on a worldwide tour all around the world. I'm planning on it. So
well,
I'm going to hit every continent. Yeah, you're going to be with me. We're going to hit every continent. I'm building a plane right now, so I can fly it all over the world. You're gonna have to lighten your load. You have to have some really light drums for the plane.
Call Elon Musk up.
Yeah,
figure it all out.
All right. Well, this is the Dubbcast signing off. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to all the Dubbcasts and AcousticCasts. We've been having a great time. And this is Justin Heter. He is the drummer in SELAH Dubb, the drummer in Dubbtown Cosmonauts, the drummer in all the jam bands around and all the reggae bands. He is the master. So check him out. Come say hi. If you don't know who he is, or you probably do know who he is, go say hi to him on his Facebook. Send him some love and get ready. We'll be back on the road with this man soon. So big thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Boom, 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 boom.
We'll be on the second segment here in just a second. So stick around.
Boom, boom.
Big love and unity from the Dubb. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's good now. I'll just stop that and I'll edit it. We'll be right back. Stick around, everybody.